Hello, hello, hello. So today we are dealing with the relevance that was held by Serial, the podcast. It's really such a great new work of journalism. And we really got to compare it to what we have used so far this year to really put it in the context, the true weight of Serial. So, the first way that we gotta compare Serial is the ideas. And really through the ideas, themes, and concepts, really the bomb was just laying out facts. It was hitting you hard, fact after fact. And this was very similar with the way that Sarah did it because Sarah laid out every single fact as well and make sure that you knew exactly what was going on and knew every single possibility. The concepts within the bomb, it was really just giving you a historical account, whereas Serial, it was giving you much more journalism and storytelling, I think, than the bomb did. So that's sort of how they compare it from a thematic and point. So then the second one is I Am the Messenger. The main concepts and theme of I Am the Messenger that compared well with Serial is the mystery, because we don't know what happened to Hay, just like we don't know what's going to happen to Ed, we never know what's going to happen next with Ed. We don't know whether Hay was killed by Adnan or was killed by Jay. It's really just a bunch of different possibilities that are constantly being thrown at you, a bunch of cliffhangers. It's a lot of mystery. Thematically, I think that they're both very similar in that regard. The Soloist, it relied a lot on narrative. It was telling a lot from Lopez's story, whereas with Serial, you hear a lot of different points of view. And I think that Sarah does a very good job with that. It's not just an author telling the story, it's her collecting all these ideas, putting it into a bundle for us, and just making it very easy for us to understand because we're getting all these different ideas and different theories coming at us. And the second place that we really got to compare them in regards to relevance is characterization. The bomb, like I already said, I'm going to sound like a broken record throughout this entire recording, but it relies heavily on facts and stories. We're not hearing a whole lot of personification, I don't think. We're not hearing very many descriptive words like what they felt like, how they were acting. We don't get a whole lot of that. With Sarah, we get a lot of that because she's getting the opinions of others and bringing them together for us. She's using these alleged facts, and she really utilizes her tone of voice to characterize these key players as well, She does show some personal preference, some bias, which I think does help out the storytelling. It doesn't hinder her too much. Like, with her saying that Adnan has dairy cow eyes, it's obvious that she has a personal connection with Adnan, but I'm not sure how much it really affected the story, even though that bias is there. I think that she was very balanced in her view of Adnan. Then, with the characterization of I Am the Messenger, we rely a lot on Ed's perspective, just like we rely a lot on Sarah's perspective. It's just sort of like with Ed and how he obviously had a bias towards Audrey. And like with Sarah, we deal a lot with the Nisha call. She said that Nisha stood up on the stand and was just as cute as a button. It's these personal opinions that really, I think, help drive the characterization of all the major players in these stories. Then the Soloist, with how the Soloist compares with Serial, the Soloist, we rely heavily on the perceptions of Lopez, especially with Nathaniel. And we really do that a lot with Serial as well. We're relying a lot on what Sarah thinks about these different characters. So that's very important, obviously, throughout the story. Then, as far as from a technical standpoint, how Serial compares with these three works that we've studied. I don't think that it compares very well with any of them too well. I think that it's very similar with I Am the Messenger, I think. But as far as The Bomb and The Soloist go, I don't think that they compare very well. Like I said, with The Bomb, it's just telling straight facts, attempting to use very little bias, just letting the story tell itself, even though it does have some bias against Harry Truman, it seems, because it does paint him as a pretty bad guy. But they're still just telling a story. They're telling bias through the facts that they choose to include. But with Sarah, it's a different type of bias. With Sarah, we use emotion, and we try and put weights on the facts. And that's something that The Bomb doesn't do very well, because The Bomb is really just throwing a bunch of facts at you. It's nothing really special. I felt The Bomb was very bland in that way, because we didn't feel the emotion that was coming through like with Sarah. And kind of the same thing with the Soloist. The Soloist was very descriptive, but I don't think that stylistically, I don't think that the way that Sarah set it up was very comparable to the way that Lopez set it up. Then, lastly, we've just got the techniques of I Am the Messenger and Serial, which I think are both very alike. You have both of them are constantly putting questions in your head for just about every single character, Is Ed gonna get Audrey? Is Audrey gonna open up to Ed? Is Adnan the killer? Is it Jay? Just constant questions coming in for just about every single corner. It's just such a mystery type atmosphere for both of them that just doesn't really stop throughout either piece. And I think that it makes I Am the Messenger and Serial a lot alike in that regard. And since this is all relevance, you gotta look at Serial as a new medium of journalism with podcasting, And it's really so unique because you really get to hear the tone of voice and hear all these different perspectives, and it really just sort of makes it very unique to the listener of how all the details are being conveyed. And I think that it's really is significant because of that, because that uniqueness with the podcasting, with the way the facts are being laid out. And it's a very relevant piece in today's contemporary literature.